So, welcome to some calculus, and you know what? Whenever we need to do this, we need to just make it maths. That's right. Make it calculus, make it maths. Make it go. Okay, so here we are. We got calculus, and we're going to start this section off by factorizing cubic. So, we're going to go quite algebraic to start with, and with some examples, and we'll take it from there. So, have your calculator ready? If you don't, well, grab it out while you listen to me ramble, and well, start off with the quadratic. So what we're doing is factorizing. So I'm not going to write factorize the following. That's the given instruction. So go for it. Factorize that quadratic expression. And with a bit of luck, you either looked at the quadratic formula or went, well, you know what? This seemed easy enough. I've done this, bracket, 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 bracket. I know that x times x gives me, the x squared. And then for the next one, you went, well, I need to do some other things over here. So, well, we could have 2 times 3. We could have 6 times 1. Well, I'm going to think that it's probably 2 and 3. So we're going to go, you know what? I'm sure this is minus 2 times plus 3. And do you remember, you could check it by multiplying it out. So multiply that out and let's check that it works. Okay, so we got x times x gives us our x squared. Our last term, kind of the easiest, we know that minus 2 times positive 3 gives us negative 6, which is the last bit over here. And then for our middle term, so that was the first term. So for our middle term, we went, oh, well, x times positive 3 gave us 3x, and negative 2 times x gives us negative 2x, and 3x minus 2x gives us plus x. Cool, so that was all well and good, and that's what you've done before, so we're comfortable at this stage. Now we're going to use our calculator to help us out here. So grab your calculator out and change the mode to table mode. So on the top right of this particular calculator, we go mode, table is 3, so we click on 3. Now we've got f of x equals. Let's punch in this. We've got x squared, so the x is over here, so we go alpha x squared plus alpha x minus 6. Okay, so that's our function. Equals g of x. No, there's no second function we're interested in, just the one. And now we're looking at our start and end values. And what we're looking for here is the possible solutions of x. So we're going to start, and let's always just go for start at negative 5, end at 5, step 1 equals, and we're going to get that out. So that's kind of our process, and we'll look into why this works shortly enough. And we go, okay, well, when x is negative 5, f of x is 14. When x is negative 4, f of x is 6. When x is negative 3, this is 0. And this is kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for zeros or solutions. So this negative 3 over here tells us that this gives us our positive 3. X minus minus 3 gives us 0. So in other words, it's almost like we were solving this and said, well, if x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0, well, x equals, and the calculator said negative 3 is a solution. So if we work backwards, one of those brackets would be x minus minus 3. And for our second bracket, we'd have, okay, what would our second bracket be? Well, let's see if the calculator gives us our second solution. So down, 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 down. Well, there's another 0. You see that when x is 2, f of x is 0. So if we look at it here, we could go, oh, or x equals 2. In other words, x minus 2 would have been one of the brackets to factorize this. So there's how our calculator is going to help us. And you see it kind of matches with our factorization to start with. Quite nifty, eh? Let's go and run through a few examples, and now we're going to do it with cubics. So example 2, x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6, and it's an expression. It's not equal to 0, but it's sort of like we're looking for roots, and once we get to the end of the section, we'll keep interpreting this a bit more, but for now, let's just get into it and go, well, let's go back here, and this expression is f of x equals alpha x cubed plus 2 alpha x minus 5 alpha x minus 6, okay, equals g of x. Now we're just dealing with the one expression, so we're just going to press equals to carry on. Start, we're going to go from negative 5 up to 5. Step, we'll step by 1. So we're going to see minus 5, so that didn't work. So what we're looking for is anything in the f of x column 0. So let's look. Dum, 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 dum. Not so much. That's no good. So, in other words, we don't have any solutions for this one. That's a bit annoying. Let's see what happened. X squared plus r. So do you see it? Be careful when you put your thing in. This wasn't 2x. This was 2x squared. As you know, it's warts and all around here, so it's not a, oh, let's redo this. Okay, so equals g of x, start minus 5 to 5, step by 1. This looks a bit more promising. So at minus 3, there's a 0. So at minus 3, that's 0. So in other words, one of our brackets would have to be x minus 3. Now let's see if we get the other solution. So let's go down here, down, down. Oh, there's another 0, minus 1. So in other words, x minus 1 is another bracket. Hey, maybe we'll be lucky and have all of them. Let's see. Down. Now this 0, and we're not looking at x equals 0. We're looking to see when f of x equals 0. So let's go down. There we go. 2. So in other words, x minus 2. And there it is. Factorized. X plus 3x plus 1x minus 2. And I'll leave it to you if you want to multiply this and this and this and then multiply that thing by x minus 2 if you want to. I'm not going to do it in the video, but you can multiply that out to satisfy yourself that we have actually factorized that. And quite useful that we didn't have to really work too hard. We put in the calculator and it did all the work for us. Pretty useful, hey? Okay, so let's go onwards, upwards. Example 3. So we've got this. Oh, that was very excitable. So we've got x cubed minus 3x squared. So let's delete this old function here. Blum, blum. Okay, minus 3 alpha x. I'm going to be careful. Squared. I'll get it right this time. Minus 40 alpha x plus 84. Does that seem right? Unless you were here to just correct me and go, no, you missed an x squared there. Okay, so good to go here, I think. Equals, no second function. Start, we're going to go from minus 5 up to 5 in steps of 1. And we're going to see, is this output ever 0? So those don't seem to promise. Oh, there we go. 2. Okay, so we've got x minus 2. Because it's a positive 2, so we're just subtracting 2. And then we'll go for our next one. And calculator, where did you go? Here we go. Okay, so in this case, we don't have the other solution. So we've got a bit more work to do. So we've got our x minus 2 times something is going to give us this top expression. So let's work it out. Well, x times this first term is going to give us our x cubes term. So x times what gives us x cubed? Well, this is going to be x squared. Okay, now let's jump to the last term. Because we're going every term in this bracket times every term in this bracket would give us this. I'm going to get rid of that because it's not useful anymore. And for our last one, negative 2 times our constant term here will give us positive 84. So negative 2 times, well, a negative must be times a negative, right? And negative 2 times negative what is going to give us 84? Well, I think that's 42. Now, this is the one downside. I don't want to change modes of my calculator. I've only got 1 over here, so I don't want to go, 84 divided by 2. Then I'm going to lose all of that function. So there we go. 2 times 42, yeah, seems right. So now we just need to work out this middle term in the second bracket. Now it's going to be summing x. So what this is going to give us is if we multiply the x squared, so the x is at least times the x, and the x minus 2 times x squared we're going to get our x squared terms. So let's check this out. We've got minus 2 times x squared. That's minus 2x squared. We want to get negative 3x squared. So we must need to subtract another x squared, and then we'll get minus 3x squared, which is what we got there. So in other words, minus 2 times x squared gives us the minus 2x squared. So x times what is going to give us minus x squared? Well, it must be times minus x. Okay, and then that works. And the other one's automatically going to work itself out. So we don't have to worry and go, oh, well, x times negative 42. Well, that's negative 42x. And minus 2 times minus x, or negative 2 times negative x, gives us positive 2x. And that's going to give us our negative 40x, which is our last term. Now, you don't have to, that's always going to work out. As long as you've done the x squareds, then the x's will sort themselves out. So there we go. We're not quite done though, because I reckon you need to keep factorizing. So let's keep factorizing. This second bracket, I'm just going to write it here so we know what we're talking about. This second bracket here, we can factorize further into 2 brackets. Well, this is just a quadratic. So we're not going to do the into the calculator function step story. We're just going to factorize as we would do normally. So we've got, x and x, 42. Well, I think that's probably 7 times 6, or negative 7 times positive 6. Let's just check. Well, x times positive 6, that's 6x, minus 7x gives us our minus x, our middle term. So that seems right. So that would mean that this second bracket could factorize to minus 7x plus 6. Okay, so there's our strategy. So let's run that through for our last 3 examples. So example 4, 6x cubed plus x squared minus 4x plus 1. Looking good, right? Okay, sure. Let's punch it into the calculator and go for it. This one's bit different. We've got a coefficient of x cubed here, so 6 alpha x cubed plus alpha x squared minus 4 alpha x plus 1. Hopefully I've got that one right now. Equals, no second function, minus 5 to 5, step 1. And we're looking down this column to see, oh, there's a 0, minus 1. Cool, so things look good here. So we've got x minus minus 1. And after all of that, I was just looking at the calculator, as you can imagine. So here we go. Let's check on this calculator. Down, 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 down. No, okay, so nothing else there. So we know that we're going to have to do the same idea. Right, so this wasn't too bad. We went x times what will give us 6x cubed. Well, this time it must be 6x squared. X times 6, yeah, that works. And for our last term, let's go blue on it. So 1 times what will give us positive 1? Well, yeah, positive 1. And we must just work out that middle term. So let's go for it. We're looking at the x squareds here. So at the moment we've got 1 times 6x squared. Well, that's 6x squared. So then this x times this x is going to give us some more x squared terms. So let's see, we had 6x squared, we want x squared. So we're going to have to subtract 5x squared. So x times what gives us 5x squared? Well, 5x. And we can check the last one if we want to and go, well, let's check. X times 1 is 1x. 1 times 5x. Something seems wrong, because 1 times 5x would be 5x and we'd have something. So, that was a good thing. We just double checked and went, no, wait a second. This was minus 5x squared. So this should have been minus. Cool. So slowly but surely we just catch our mistakes and go, okay, cool. So I reckon the second bracket is going to factorize x plus 1. So we can factorize it and go, that's going to factorize into 2 brackets, 6x squared minus 5x plus 1. Well, this must be 1 times 1 to give us our 1 at the end. This is negative, so it's probably going to be negative, negative. And there aren't really too many options. 6 is either 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. So I think it's 2x and 3x. But you factorize enough quadratics by now to do that. So 6x squared minus 3x minus 2x minus 5x, that works. Cool. Okay, so we're getting into our rhythm, right? And let's go for it. Example 5. And it's a longish one, right? But we're going slowly and steadily here. So x cubed minus 8. Well, it looks a bit different, but you know what? Let's just bomb on the way we've been doing it so far. So let's go back here. So we got, get rid of all of that. X cubed alpha x cubed minus 8. Okay, nothing there. Minus 5 step. We're looking for zeros. Oh, there's one. So x minus 2. So that seems like x minus 2. Okay, let's see if the other ones come out. No, nothing over there. Okay, so let's go for it as we did before. X times something is going to give us x cubed. Well, x squared, right? X squared. And then for our last bit, minus 2 times something is going to give us our constant term. Constant times constant. Constant. So this should be a positive 4, I think. That seems to work. And then our middle ones, well, let's go for the x squared. So minus 2 times x squared. So far we've got minus 2x squared. Now, so this times this, well, there aren't any x squared. So in other words, we need to add 2x squared. So x times what is going to give us 2x squared? Well, times 2x. Okay, so there it is. X minus 2 seems to work. X, 4x, minus 4x. Yeah, so take a pause and just check that that one works. Seems to work nicely. So the idea was that we didn't want any x squared, 0x squared. And now we can try factorize the second one. And I'm going to leave this to you to put that into the quadratic formula and satisfy yourself that there are no real roots to the second bracket. And there never will be in a sum or difference of cubes. And I'm just going to leave you to do that, and there's an extension exercise later to do this algebraically, to see that there'll never be any roots. In other words, that's as far as your factorization can go. Okay, now let's just keep those two on the screen together. So we've got x cubed minus 8. Now, something jumps out about these. They're both nice cube numbers. X cubed. 8 is 2 cubed. Wait a second. X was just x cubed. And 8 was just 2 cubed. In fact, negative 8 was negative 2 cubed. So it looks like we could have gone directly there. So let's do it. Second one over here. Let's skip our calculator and say, I reckon we can go straight there. What do you think? No, I think so. I'll back you. So we got 8x cubed will help us get the first term. So what's our first term in this first bracket? Well, it's just the cube of this, the cube root at least. So 2x is our cube root. So 2x all cubed is 8x cubed. Okay. Second term in this bracket here. Well, 27 for this one who took the cube root. So what's the second term going to be? Well, it's positive and positive 3. That seems to work nicely. And then we do everything as we did before. Well, 2x times what gives us 8x cubed? Well, it must be 4x squared. 2 times 4 is 8. X times x squared is x cubed. Yeah, that works nicely. And then our last term, that seemed to be green above, we'll do it here, was 3 times what gives you 27? Well, yeah, I think it's 9. I say yeah. Like obviously that's what you said, right? And then we work out our middle term. So I did that in red here, and we said, well, here we had 3 times 4x squared is, I'll do it here above. Yeah, we can do this actually. Let's just make our way down. Yeah, there's our last one coming up. So over here we had 3 times 4x squared is 12x squared. But actually, there weren't any x squareds here, so we're going to need to subtract 12x squared. So this 2x times this term over here must be negative 12x squared. So 2x times what gives you 12x squared? Well, negative 12x squared, I should say, right? Well, I think this should be minus 6x. And that'll work. Again, we can check the x's. 2x times 9 is 18x. 3 times negative 6x, negative 18x, kind of makes 0 x's. Okay, so last one. You ready? Last one. Excellent. So for our last one, we've got negative 6x cubed plus 3x squared plus 15x plus 6. So we grab our calculator out. Where's my calculator? Hiding over here. And we go by. Now, what's the first thing you do when you factorize? We look for our highest common factor. So there's a number that goes into all of these. And what is that? Well, 3 seems to go into all of them. And so far it's been easiest to work with a positive x cubed coefficient. So if we take out as a first step, let's take a negative 3 out as our common factor. So negative 3 times what gives us negative 6x cubed? Well, this is going to be 2x cubed. And so we're going to go and complete the rest. So go for it. Complete the rest and let's take it from there. So you went, cool, well, that must be a negative times a negative x squared. Negative times, again, another negative makes 5x. And negative 3 times, I think that's negative 2. Yeah, that seems to look good. Now we're ready to factorize this bracket. Let's leave that there. And so we load up the calculator and we go, now we're just factorizing this bracket. So we're going minus 3, and then we're just looking at the bracket part. So that's going to be our function. So we've got 2 alpha x squared minus alpha x squared. And I don't know how to work mathematics, do I? Because what am I doing here? That should be a cubed. That should be a cubed. Okay. So let's go back. The cubes and the squares, right? So let's go for it. Cubed looks a bit better. And as I've always said, I like to leave these little simple slips and mistakes because they can trip you up, but notice that you can catch them as you're doing it. Something just felt, why do we have a squared and a squared? Okay, so there we are. Equals, no second function, minus 5 to 5, step 1. Now we look for zeros. Oh, there's 1. So minus 1, so x minus minus 1. And then, I don't know, let's see, maybe we'll get lucky and see us. Oh, there we go. 2, so that worked nicely. X minus 2. And that's all. Okay, but there must be a third bracket here, because x times x gives us x squared, and this should be an x cubed, now that we got that right. So x times summing is going to give us 2x cubed. So x times something is going to give us 2x cubed. That's the only term that's going to give us x cubed. So what must this term over here be? Well, it needs to be 2x. And similarly, 1 times negative 2 times something over here must give us negative 2. So let's see. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So what do we still have to multiply it by to get negative 2? Well, we need to multiply it by 1. And there we go. Factorized. Calculator helped us get there. We got 2 of the solutions, which made finding the third one quite easy because we just checked that. And again, I'll leave it to you to multiply out to see that that gives you that nice long expression in the bracket. But I think it might just be time to make it maths. So I said make it maths. There's actually time, I think, I should have put this up right, to do a few questions. Goodbye calculator, because it's exercise time. So there are for you to try, give them a go. And well, we made it maths already, right? So wait. Let's make it maths. We need to get back into that, right? Okay, cool. So that's it. Enjoy.